Well, this is something I've always wanted to share with my students, and so this is a first. I had Jonathan put together this beautiful color chart which shows my palette, which is set up like a color wheel. And all the colors are in the proper placement, and the colors are across from each other that are complementary. So when I'm doing blue and I need to gray it down, just go over here, I've got the gray. Same with gold. If I'm working in gold and I need a complement, bingo, down here I've got the permanent magenta. And then even the colors, like the blues, are in their proper position. Manganese blue is over here because it has a lot of yellow in it. Antwerp is here because it has yellow in it. This French ultramarine blue is here because it has red in it. So we have, you know, like a warm blue and a cool blue. It's perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually paint right on this 140-pound Arches paper, and I'm going to show you some really basic colors that I love to work with that are mixed colors. So we're going to start with Winsor Yellow, and Winsor Yellow is a color that moves in water. It is staining, so I always use it with caution, but it also is beautiful, transparent, very primary. And you'll also notice on this chart it tells you if it moves in water, if it doesn't move in water, if it's staining, non-staining, transparent, or semi-transparent. So one of the first colors I want to mix it with is right over here with manganese blue. So I'm going to come out here with the Winsor Yellow, clean my brush, and I'm going to come in with some manganese blue, and I'm just going to let those two colors mix right here on the paper. And so I'm going to keep pulling in the Winsor and mixing it with the manganese until I get a really nice green mixture. Yeah, perfect. And I like to do a little range, so it's going to be a little cooler here, a little warmer there. Now the next mixture I want to do is the Winsor Yellow with Antwerp. And see, when I mix my greens, I use a combination of a primary yellow with Antwerp, a gold with Antwerp, and a quinacridone burnt orange with Antwerp. And that gives me a full range of light, mid-tone, dark. So let's give it a try. We're going to start with the Winsor and the Antwerp. Again, I'm going to put the color right on the paper here. So I hope you're just painting along with me. This is in your kit. There's the Winsor Yellow. Now we're going to come in with the Antwerp Blue. And we'll just put it here and jiggle it back into the yellow. So you're going to see the range from a light to a dark. Love it. And when these dry, you're going to see the difference between manganese and Antwerp. There is quite a difference. Now we're going to do another mixture, this time Quin Gold with Antwerp. So again now, I'm going to get my Quin Gold, start it in a range like this. Then I'm going to take my Antwerp Blue, and make it darker here, going into lighter here. So a little more Antwerp on this end, and a little less over here. So you can see you get a nice range here from a lighter olivey colored green. This is one of my favorite mixtures right here. And you can just push and pull it any way you want. I think I'm going to add just a little more Quin Gold right in there. Just a little bit more Antwerp over here. Nice. Okay, now the next one we're going to do is quinacridone burnt orange and Antwerp. Oops, we're not ready for the pen yet. So I'm going to bring this out to here. And this is going to give us a beautiful dark green. And the thing is, it needs more Antwerp than Quin Burnt Orange. So I'm positioning it over here closer to the Antwerp. And all of these are kind of positioned where I want, like Quin Gold, I've got it with more gold than Antwerp. Here I've got it positioned where it's more Windsor Yellow than Antwerp. Now this one is more Antwerp than Quinacridone Burnt Orange. So it's closer to the Antwerp. And this is going to give us a beautiful dark green. And of course, the more Antwerp you put in it, the darker the green. Oh, this is how I make all my pine trees. Beautiful. It's a beautiful color. Now if you put it over here and you have more Quin Burnt Orange than Antwerp, you get kind of a muddy brown. Make sure you come over here, closer to the Antwerp, add more Antwerp than Quin Burnt Orange. Okay, now I want to do a flesh color. So I'm going to take Areolan Yellow and Quin Coral. And one of the things I've been forgetting to do, my goodness, I have to put this color, the color, in the little box. So we've already done quite a few of these. So take a minute to catch up if you have been following me and didn't do it. Now I'm going to do the Antwerp. Oh, and these colors are so beautiful. I love the colors I've picked. Both of these have a lot of yellow in them. And the Quin Burnt Orange. And this color I use probably more than any other color. It's my substitute for burnt sienna. Now we're ready to start with some Quin Coral. I love this color. Quin Coral is not quite as pink as the rose. So I'm going to show you both side by side. This is permanent rose. You can see already it's a lot pinker. And pinker means it's got more blue in it, and that's why it's over here on the blue side. The Quin Coral has more yellow in it, so I'm using that as my primary color. So what I'm going to do is suggest now that I like to use Quin Coral with Areolan Yellow. Now Areolan Yellow is a much cooler yellow. It's got just a hint of blue in it. That's why it's over here on the blue side. So we're going to take Areolan Yellow, and you're going to have less Areolan Yellow and more Quinacridone Coral. So what I'm doing is I'm positioning it closer to the coral, and now I'm going to mix the two, and see, that can be a lovely skin color. And we can add a little more yellow up here and just a little more coral down here. And you'll see when it dries approximately 20% lighter, it's actually a nice skin tone. You can also use Areolan with Quin Rose to make a lovely skin tone. In fact, let's do it. Let's take a little Areolan and we'll put in the permanent rose, much pinker now. We'll mix the two together. We'll put a little bit more rose on this side, a little bit more yellow on this side. There. So it'll be interesting to see the difference when those two dry. Now another nice combination is Quin Rose with French Ultramarine Blue. And what this does is it makes a beautiful purple. So first of all, we're going to put the French Ultramarine Blue in here. And this is, you can just see that there's a lot of red in here compared to those other blues that have a lot of green in them. And now we're going to do a combination of permanent rose. So we'll start over here with the rose going into the ultramarine blue area. And then we're going to start with the ultramarine blue and push it back into the rose. And see, when you want a purple, if you put more rose in, you get a warm purple. If you want a cool purple, you put more French ultramarine blue. So just keep adding until you get there. There we go. See, now this is the cool side. We'll keep adding a little more blue to it. And the other side is the warm side. Just keep adding a little more permanent rose. Nice. Now, one of the mixtures that I use a lot is Cobalt blue and Windsor orange. So we're going to put those two colors out. Here's our Cobalt. Ooh, nice. This is a perfect primary. There's no yellow in it and there's no red in it. And you can really see the difference. This is really fun. Okay, now I'm going to take some Windsor orange. This color is staining, but it's just a beautiful, perfect complement to Cobalt. So we're going to do two mixtures. We're going to start here with the mixture closer to the Windsor orange, and we're going to do another one here closer to our Cobalt blue. So now we're going to come in with our Cobalt, and see, when you mix these two together, you get a beautiful, cool gray. It's really nice. And when you mix, when you mix this together, we're going to get a warmer gray. And I might push it just a little warmer. I'm going to add just a little bit more orange to that one, and just a little bit more blue to this one. So it's the same mixture, but when you have more orange, you get a warm gray. When you have more blue, you get a cool gray. We'll actually be using this mixture in the next lesson I'm presenting. Now this is really cool. I have at the bottom here 4 different very strong darks. And they can be black, but they can also have a tone to them. So one of the colors is alizarin crimson. Now alizarin crimson is a very dark, almost value 9. And then up here we have a very staining color, not one I use very often. I like to put my staining colors on this outer ring. So up here we have phthalo green. And phthalo green is a very staining color. I have the blue shade. It's sometimes called Windsor green, but it's actually phthalo. So now I'm going to put it down here, and you can see the two together make black. And that's when I need a black. I never buy a black, I mix a black. And the reason I mix a black is this is truly transparent. Both permanent alizarin crimson and phthalo green are absolutely transparent colors. So when you mix them together, you get this beautiful dark that is transparent. So many darks, you don't know what's in them. They dry kind of gray and muddy looking because they have white in them. So this is a perfect one. And what I like to do, like if I'm painting flowers, I'll just make it a really warm alizarin crimson dark. And maybe I'm doing an abstract painting and I really want it to be kind of a cool dark, more of a green tone. I put more green in it. So you can see you're going to get a beautiful dark either way. If you have absolutely equal amounts, it's just dead black. So now let's try this one. This is another mixture I use for black. It's quinacridone burnt orange. So we're going to put that down. And the complement of orange is blue. Only this time we're going to take French ultramarine blue. Now French ultramarine blue is a dark value 9 blue. And so if I put quite a bit of this French ultramarine blue in here, I'm going to get a black. And if I put quite a bit of twin burnt orange, I'm going to get a warmer black. So you're going to get a black either way. This one's going to be warmer, and this one's going to be cooler. So I'm going to add a little more orange here, a little more blue here, and then in the middle I'm going to mix them together good. Now you'll see, because French ultramarine blue is a semi-transparent color, quinacridone burnt orange is transparent, but that semi-transparent means slightly opaque. This is going to dry with more opacity. This is going to be more transparent. Now, a lot of times, I see this happen a lot, so I added indigo. People say, oh, anytime I need a dark, I just add indigo. Well, indigo, look at how dark that looks. It's very cool. It's a cool dark. It's very blue. So I'm just going to paint straight indigo here, so you can see. Look how when they're wet. Look at how they look. My goodness, it almost looks darker. But you wait until that dries. The white in it is going to rise up. It's going to turn gray. And then another dark that I use quite a bit when I'm doing florals. If I'm happen to be working in the purple area, I will take alizarin crimson. It's a very strong dark red, and I'll mix it with Antwerp blue. And what's cool is, what makes it so dark is Antwerp blue has yellow in it. So what you're doing is, it's like you're taking red, yellow, and blue. Anytime you take red, yellow, and blue, you get gray or black. So we are getting now a very purpley dark color. And when you need a dark and you're working with the dominant purple painting, which I frequently am when I'm doing flowers, this is the dark I use, because it matches. So I wouldn't think of putting black on my palette and just use it, indiscriminately. I have no black on my palette. When I want blacks, I mix a black to fit the painting. Well, I hope you found this helpful. I really enjoyed sharing this with you.